such an asshole.
We got to bang him out because Cappy's got to catch himself a flight. Mr. Clary, should we just get rid of democracy altogether? Liberal democracy, which is with its much vaunted emphasis on tolerance, peace, love, freedom of speech, fairness, dialogue, and diversity, is ultimately bringing nothing more than sham. What I do not mistake democracy as the problem here. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you here either. All liberal democracy exposes human nature. And human nature for 85% of the people is to be parasitic and lazy and squander their life. That's it. That you kind of, if you give people money, say, okay, what are you going to do with this? Like, you could give everyone UBI. Most people will squander their life. You gave me UBI when I was hiking, running, doing, jumping, maybe start a business or something. I'd be doing something. All a liberal democracy where you give people, the right to vote in other people's money, which is not necessarily democracy. Like, hey, you can lead yourself. What do you want? I want to do nothing. And that is what you're seeing. So a 100% complete democracy where everyone with a pulse gets to vote. We'll get to republics later. You just get to see, it's like, here's the mirror or the magnifying. Oh, that's humanity. Humanity is pretty pathetic. This is why I'm a misanthrope. Most of you are parasitic. Most of you don't want to do the work. You're perfectly fine enslaving other people as long as you don't have to, do the job. And democracy kind of exposes that. What do the people want? They want bread and circuses. They want to sit and I honestly, like, what, you want free heroin? If I was president, I'm like, free heroin there, knock yourselves out. No, you don't get to go to the hospital. You just get more heroin. Oh, there's a corpse. But that's what they want. A cover up for politicians, Wall Street, oligarchs, big tech, and military industrial complex, academia, corporate media, entertainment. Again, you are, dude, it's the corporations, man. No. That is all a result of catering to the 85% of parasites. Do you think the Democrat Party would exist if people were like, no, we're going to do it ourselves? You think corporate media? All this woke BS? Do you actually think Target Corporation cares about fat minority women? Do you think Oprah cares about women in general? You think the Democrat Party cares about women minorities? No. They just want their money, or in the case of the Democrat Party, the vote. This is all of that. Wall Street, let's use laziness as the universally unifying force of human action and behavior. Why does Wall Street exist? What, to go raise funds to start entrepreneurial ventures and fund them? No. If you look at the majority of the economic activity of Wall Street, it's either arbitrage, which I'm not necessarily against, or it's somehow scamming people through, we'll manage your finances. Well, the index fund does that. I don't need you. Robo-advisors do that. The vast majority of Wall Street is the promise of get rich quick. And they, too, themselves, the participants in most of the financial industry, are people who are also lazy, who don't want to do engineer work, but want an engineer salary. Democracy is not this sentient entity. It is a reflection of the laziness of the people. That's it. And whatever institutions, whether it's private sector institutions, corporations, nonprofit, academic, college ain't going away. You know why? Because 17-year-old juniors don't want to actually go and major in something important. They're so lazy. They're not going to work, but they need some kind of ego. Ooh, a piece of paper. I'm so good. I'm so good. It's not democracy. Democracy just brings out the worst or the truth of all people. That's it. And many other powerful players running the show to not only impose even more draconian controls over our entertainment-drenched lives, but also tyrannize the world with imperial power. Sure. Okay. All right. I just think the Democrat Party, you look at them, this is why I do the Clary test, they also don't want to work. I know it's more sexy to believe in the corporations and imperial power and industrial military complex. No, it's just a bunch of people trying to avoid work. And if you look at the Democrat Party, the people running, and Republicans too, they're not much better, just that much better. Occasionally you get someone that has some real military or real world working experience, but the Democrat Party, they don't want to work. Kings and queens, let's go to monarchy, which you're probably going to suggest. What was the kings and the queens all doing? They were all trying to avoid work. They didn't want to go toil in the field. They didn't want to go around. What did the the cousin to the king, or the brother of the king, or the sister of the king, or the some relative of the king, what did they all try to kill the king? Why? Because they didn't want to work. I guess it wasn't good enough being a baron or a lord or whatever the heck went over on in England. I'm increasingly becoming convinced that the West liberal democracy is not only more than a sham, but an existential danger to mankind. It is, because we have nuclear weapons. And in the before time, we had sane, normal people at the head of the United States. Now we're having freaks and mentally ill people whose obsession is traits they're born with and avoiding work. And I message to the rest of the world. I know you all love of having people avoid becoming adults and spoiling little children so they give you the money and the vote. I know you're all, when those people are in charge of the U.S. nuclear weapons supply, and they need to find some kind of food, or they need their gadgets, and you have a bunch of petulant little children, a country where no one's able to work, but they have nuclear weapons, guess what they're going to start threatening the world with? I predict it. I think this will come after I'm dead. But what? You're going to promote people based on color of skin and not content of character? Which unto itself wouldn't necessarily mean a bunch of petulant little children are going to be in charge of the U.S. military or U.S. Nuclear weapons. But a bunch of ideologues that think nothing is their fault and they're going to do nothing but work, they will nuke you if you don't give them what they want. It will come to that. Have you ever seen a child throw a temper tantrum? Yeah, now give that kid's nukes. That's whoever's going to be in charge of the nuke supply 50 years from now. So in that sense, yes, any country that avoids work and is okay with enslaving your neighbor so that you don't have to work, but your neighbor's doing the same thing, and it's essentially communism and production tanks, yes. It's an existential threat, but we've survived communism. Humans have. It's just an ebb and a flow. It's a cycle. The government of the U.S. and by extension its vassals are not only in danger to their own citizens, but also the citizens of nation states that are opposed to the Western global system and cherish their own sovereignty. Russia, China, Democrat People's Republic of North Korea, Iran. Well, yeah, those are all the countries. Iran, Iraq, Syria, Cuba. But I don't know about Iraq. I don't know about Nicaragua, but pretty much all of those you've listed are outright dictatorships. They're not better. I guess you could say they're more honest. See, with democracy, it's the people enslaving themselves. And the government and various organizations and entities within the economy and the government are only more than happy to accommodate people. What, you like sucking dick? Oh my God, here's a pride flag. Go buy our overpriced crap. But Syria, Cuba, a fair amount of theocracies there, so that changes the analysis. Venezuela, Cuba, North Korea, those are outright communist countries. Are notable examples of such nations who challenge and don't accept American hegemony. Right, there are other. I mean, I don't think Brazil accepts it. I don't think they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to do whatever. India's kind of given us the finger on this whole Ukraine thing. But those are not great examples to replace democracy with. One, censorship tyranny. The events of the so-called COVID pandemic is a damning indictment of the psychopathy of democracy. People were forced under penalty of jail time, total career destruction, including up to the revocation of credentials that professionals such as doctors work their entire lives to earn termination of employment, social stigma, bullying, censorship, to take an experimental vaccine that has been proven to compromise the immune system, maim, injure, and kill people, while Big Pharma looks the other way and threatens doctors who dare to speak out. Okay, right, democracy. Right. But was it the government? Did you notice how it's the same thing with social media platforms or big tech? The government isn't saying you can't do this. It's your own people tattletaling on you and narky trying to get you doxxed or deplatformed or whatever else. Google is not the government. All right. The Hollywood is not the government. Right? This is the will of the people. Now, where you could argue is the government has invested lots of money and time in convincing, I would say now, 3 generations of Americans, young Americans, that the most important thing about them is the traits they were born with. And so now you have this woke trait-based value system where it's like, oh, I'm whatever, black, Hispanic, female, Asian, not straight. Those are the main ones. Oh, mental illness. So I have the his. All right. And you could say, okay, and through that now the government has brought about anytime you criticize constructively, even with the intent of helping them out, women, minorities, whatever. I always tell women, stop majoring in dumb crap. Why do I hate women? No, I want you to close the wage gap and do well. But my fees, my fees. But that's still the people doing it. That's still the people choosing to take their entire value through traits they were born with, or the fact they are for parasitic politics or something like that. The government is not putting a gun to anyone's head. I mean, and this is where also state rights come in and local laws, municipal laws. It depends on the state you're in. South Dakota, Utah, a couple others, like, no, we're not shutting down. All right. The people at that lower level decided that of democracy. I think Colorado had a little bit differently where the local, like the county and the cities, their local laws trump state. State has some key laws everyone's got to follow. But so, Governor Polis would make decrees, but then the cities didn't necessarily have to follow it. And even after the restrictions were ended on the state level, some cities still enforced it. Right. And what you got to realize is how sad and pathetic most humans are. Most humans in the United States value traits they were born with above all else. And I didn't really believe it at first. I'm like, no, people aren't that bad. They're not that sad and pathetic. And then Molyneux pointed out, because it was not my observation, it was Stefan Molyneux's. He's like, the reason a lot of these people push for wearing masks and COVID restrictions and all that, well after the all clear had been given and all that, is because they had nothing else in their lives. Like, oh, if I wear this mask, I'm a good person. Again, work avoidance. Laziness is it's the unifying common thread. Instead of hitting the gym, getting a real job, getting a real career, doing something productive, being a good parent, being a good spouse, sucking a mean dick. Instead of doing that, people are like, what? I just put this on and I go get a shot and it's free and I'm a good person? That is how sad 85% of most Americans' lives are. And so with such low stand and there's just absolutely no values outside of themselves and laziness and sloth and victimhood politics. Woe is me, I can't work because the people who aren't like me are oppressing me. What? That with such low standards, any little thing to glom onto gives them value, purpose, and meaning in life. And so something as simple as putting a mask on when you don't need it. Now, I understand you're old or frail or compromised. Yeah, okay, go ahead. But another perfect example, tattoos or dyeing your hair purple or pink or something edgy or piercing your face. Ladies in particular, but guys too, tell me you're a worthless, boring, utterly pointless human being without telling me you're a totally worthless, boring, utterly pointless human being. Right? Like, what's the best thing you got going on? I dyed my hair purple. Aren't I edgy? No. Show me your tattoo of a Chinese proverb. And then show me your resume of no accomplishment, not a single thing of accomplishment. And so when that is your base level, it's not the government oppressing you. It's a bunch of worthless, mindless NPC Borg-like robots that are oppressing you. This is where, okay, yeah, I know the East German Stasi, that was dictatorial, but good. I'm gonna prove my worth by showing the style. I'm gonna show the East German government. I'm gonna turn in my my neighbors. When you have nothing to live for, taking down other people who disagree, who stand out. That it's the destruction principle. Look it up. Wrote about it, God, 15 years ago. That's the bad person who isn't conforming. I'm going to take them down. I'm a good person. So it's not democracy per se. It isn't even the government. It is a response to people's base level laziness. and truly utter worthlessness. 85% of you, you're just, it's not that you're worthless and, increasing our taxes, making everybody miserable. It's that you're wasting your life. I really sit and think about that. Your main accomplishment is you got a tattoo. Like, you didn't go to war to get it, like, your unit didn't get a tattoo, or you sailed to the Grand Meridian. No, you have so little going on, you dyed your hair a different color, you got an edgy tattoo. Okay, waste your life like that. But then when you give these type of people the right to lead and govern and come in the laws, don't be surprised when the laws are dictatorial, tyrannical, increasingly petty, like nanny Nazi Karens getting in there. I remember some girls over in Wyoming, they wanted to ban smoking. It's like, get the F out of here. What do you care? You don't care. You want to feel good about yourself. It's so important. Surprise, white girls. Did you? Oh my God. Maybe I would go to Venezuela versus having a world ran by white women. Like, can I fart now? No! We're passing a no fart law. Anyway, the larger point is your average human being is a true waste of life. Just a true waste of life. And so when you give them the right to vote, plus technology and the ability and a productive class, they're just going to vote for not only mediocrity, but they're going to, that's the voting. Culturally, what manifests afterwards, not due to democracy, but due to the low quality and caliber of people, is the nightmare that you have now. Woke politics, black hobbits or dwarves or whatever the hell it is. Quite literally the opposite of what Martin Luther King said. The celebrations humans give themselves, like the Academy Awards, or more modernly, not more modernly, but the what's it called? It's a joke of an award. It means absolutely nothing. Nobel Peace Prizes, they mean nothing. The Clark Medal, that's an economics one. None of these things mean it. Doctorates, college degrees, they mean nothing. It's just adult children celebrating very mediocre, if non-existent, accomplishments. Majoring in English when you live in an English-speaking country. Holy participation trophy, Batman. There you go, sweetheart. You speak English really good. So, censorship. Yeah, that's just, they said something that's bad. We communally as the Borg have decided it's bad. People force, yeah. So conformance is rewarded as opposed to performance. 2, war, imperialism, propaganda. The government's the so-called democratic U.S. and its vassals have a long history of invading, colonizing, and murdering people faraway countries. This I disagree with. I'm glad we fought the Vietnam War. I'm glad we fought the Korean War. I'm glad we went over and stopped the Nazis. I'm glad we invaded, was it Nicaragua? We intervened in Central America. Grenada. I'm all for fighting communism. I'm all for fighting evil. There was a time the U.S. was generally a good thing. And I don't believe this war, imperialism, colonialism, like, we were a colony. Now, you could say that we've influenced. You could say, hey, we fought this war. We beat that group of people over there. This is our land now. Kind of like the Philippines, we liberated from Japan, but then we left. Hawaii might be another one. What was the Spanish-American War? Was that Puerto Rico? I think the Philippines was the Spanish-American War. Yeah, if you want to see imperialism, I gotta go, you're imperialistic. It's like, you want to see an empire? We'll show you the Roman Empire. It involves slavery. Not, hey, can we put our base here so we could keep the shipping lanes open? Murdering people from faraway countries. Don't start there, won't be none. Although now, more modernly, yeah, I'm a little worried about it. That did nothing to provoke them. No. No. It wasn't like We just sitting there doing nothing. Plundering the resources. No, I don't believe war for oil. That didn't happen because it would have been way easier just to create our own. The Bakken oil field, anyone? Hiring gangsters, traitors, collaborators into power to suppress independence. That, yes, CIA behind the scenes. Yeah, I'll go with that. Propaganda such as the communist scare. That wasn't a scare. That was real. Joseph McCarthy was right. Go look it up. An excuse to bolster insane military spending to fuel the war industry and provoke civil war in occupied countries. Korea, Vietnam. Yep, we should have stopped. Iraq. We should have done it differently, obviously, in hindsight. But I was still for Iraq. I'm like, okay, better do something. Oh, you want to come here and fight on your home turf? Okay. Libya, Syria, Afghanistan. Poisoning the youth through a combination of electronic bombardment containing images of nonstop violent entertainment that encourages hedonistic value of sexuality of the worst kind, hard drugs, feminine, LGBTQ, abortion on demand, junk food. America culture is creating a generation of godless secular. No, America is not okay. It's not democracy. That's what the people want. This isn't the government coming in like, we're going to force you to take that. We're going to force you to do this. This is what people want. Tranny sodomite, God-hating reprobates who hate parents, hate society, hate their own country, hate all authority, and deep down probably hate themselves and worthless existences. War on common sense, total war on critical thinking, teaching children not to question what they are exposed to, allowing students who cannot meet the minimum standards graduating psychopathic man children are completely incapable of comprehending reality. Here's one where I will agree with you because the government is in charge of education. You are right here. That is where I would say the government is actually responsible and involved. But again, people say, well, stop sending your kids to public schools. Why do parents send their kids to public schools? Well, it's too expensive to send it to private. No. You can homeschool, but we have to work 2 jobs. Why do you have to work 2 jobs? Because we have cars and a McMansion and my wife's student loans. Oh, so you love your things more than you do your children, and therefore it's free babysitting. See, America, 85. I don't care if you're Republicans. I don't care. I don't care if you're the perfect nuclear family in the prestigious white suburbs. Most of the parents in America, regardless of skin color or anything else, they don't love their children more than they love their things and their stuff and themselves. And so even though the government just can't wait, I mean, that's 101. You get the kids early. Oh, public school teachers, socialism, more government money. That's a given. But is it democracy? Is it the government's fault? No, the parents like, whoa, you got a choice now, parents. You could pull them out of this brainwashing indoctrination camp and homeschool them and make sure your kids have a future. Or you could choose a Range Rover and wifey poo or daddy poo's got to work an extra job. So no one's going to raise the kids. What do they always choose? They always choose the Range Rover. 85% of people, they're that lazy. So I could see, yes, there is a case where the government, as a consequence of democracy, now is being tyrannical. But there's a short circuit. There's a bypass to that. No, we ain't sending our kids to public school or homeschool, but no one does it, right? Why? People are lazy. All right. Exploring a culture of reprobation, not content to be reprobates themselves, they also impose their way of life onto formerly respectable, pure, and wholesome countries whose cultures and values are totally incompatible to those of the godless, secular, sex-crazed, tranny, sodomite god. Dude, you're a spurg, man. You need to let go of this religious stuff and understand this is a secular democracy. All right? Not the whole world doesn't believe in the guy up on the cross. All right? In light of what you just read, why should anyone want their country to be a democracy? Why shouldn't we just get rid of it and just replace it with a monarchy, which is proven to have a far superior and more stable system throughout history? It hasn't. Did you see what early democracy did in the United States? We didn't have a democracy. We had a republic. So, and our culture being exported? No. We're just exposing what all human nature, regardless of country, wants. Look, Venezuela is a perfect example. Free crap. Okay. Do you think feminism is some kind of virus created and concocted in Western United States laboratories that we're now exposing and infecting foreign countries? No. Women genetically just don't want men that much. It's not feminism that's doing that. That is probably the operating system that is their base core natural operating system. And now that we have technology, improving standards of living, and women don't need men, they're given a choice. What do they choose? They don't want men. That's not feminism. Feminism is merely the scripted, manifested code written down of what's already in their operating system, what women want. It's not democracy's fault. This is human nature. Democracy just exposes it. So here's the founding. We've already been down this before 250 years ago. That's why we have a republic. Okay. And it's in the base words of Democrat and Republican, although both parties have long kind of left, maybe not. Democracy or Democrats meant we want as many people to have the vote as possible. Republicans meant no, it's a representative democracy. Not everyone gets the right to vote, and you send representatives who, in theory, are more educated, more real world based, have some kind of vested interest in the country, and are more reasoned and rational. Though ironically, the Republicans fought the Civil War and fought to expand the franchise to black people, the slaves, former slaves. So you kind of see as time has gone on, things have changed. But the Democrats want to expand the vote to 12-year-olds because more vote to illegal aliens, to get rid of ID voting. That's Minnesota. You don't need an ID to vote. You just need someone to vouch for you. Oh yeah, these 20 people I know, sure. And the white women in Minnesota are like, oh my God, so good. Funny. Okay, dear, I'll work more and pay more in taxes. They taught our sons what to hate me. You're right. I'm a bad, bad Minnesota man. Mea culpa, mea culpa. Where was I going with that before that funny, truthful observation about Minnesota voting? So the Republic restricted the franchise to people. And we go way back in U.S. history, you had to be a landowner. You had to own part of the population. You had to own. Well, some people did own part of the population, huh? You had to own land. You had to be male, and you had to be white. I think those are the three main. And there may have been other additional requirements. There were, I think, poll taxes back in the day. Like you had to pay to vote, right? So there, it was like, no, not everyone just gets to vote, because the founding fathers knew, like, look, if you give everyone the right to vote, and I don't know what was Abraham Lincoln, a bunch of other people made the obvious observation: once 51% of the population realize they can enslave the other 49%, they'll do it, and that's what you got now. So they said, no, we're going to restrict who has the right to vote to people who are somehow invested in the economy or the country. All right, citizen. Property ownership. More modernly, obviously, as you expanded the franchise to women and minorities or slaves, former slaves, which I think is fair and just. That has expanded, more democratized. And there's still some holdover of the Republic. I think the Electoral College, there's still representative. You send a representative to vote for you or vote for the other guy. But we have now allowed nearly everyone to vote. And it's not so much, we allow different types of people to vote. That's not the problem. The problem is you got rid of the property ownership or the polling tax, where people had to have some kind of skin in the game to vote. Because if you just let everyone vote, 85% of people are parasites. They're going to vote for free crap. The productive people might produce a little bit more depending on the taxation rates, but inevitably you're going to just like try to enslave everyone, 49% to serve 51%. And that 49% who works is going to lay down and lie flat. So what should be reintroduced as the Republican, not in the terms of the Republican Party, but republicanism, a republic where it's like, look, I'm all for going back to like you need to own property, or a polling tax, or a net taxpayer system. My ultimately simple solution that would expand the franchise as much as possible, but still have people have skin in the game, is you remove all taxes and you replace it with a sales tax. That way, you want to vote for free daycare for your crotch fruit spawn from 3 different baby daddies. Okay, you can vote for that, but there's now a 5% increase on everything you buy, and you're paying for it. You want to expand the franchise as much as possible, make everyone pay the taxes through a sales tax. You can have welfare programs and spending programs on the backside, but everyone's paying. That's just my simple solution. That way there's no issue about who gets to vote and raise or ownership. No, everyone gets to vote because everyone's paying the tax. Simple? Simple. But it's not too great. And then we could get rid of the IRS. Oh no, it's too simple, Aaron. But here's the thing, no matter what system we put in place, people they're going to vote. They're going to change the laws. That's what they're going to do. And there's no way to stop that. On the local level, they're going to go and campaign. And because politicians want to get reelected, because why? They're lazy. So, yeah, we should expand the franchise to people who don't work. Yeah, we should essentially remove a republic, get rid of all these limits and controls on making sure that the people who vote are the ones that are responsible, people who know how to manage a country or a business or whatever else, and give it to the parasites of society. Give it to the NPCs, the normies, conformies, and inferiors. Why? Because they want to get elected. And so you can start off with a republic. It will inevitably decay into a democracy. I even think there's someone like from a republic to a democracy, from democracy to tyranny or something like that. And we're going to start the whole process over again. And so a better way to look at, there is no government system, monarchy, democracy, republic, or anything like, I mean, there's dictatorships. They last a long time, aren't exactly the best for the well-being of the people. But you think there's a permanent solution. There isn't. There's just cycles. You're going to have a republic that will do the best. Then it'll be replaced with democracy. For any other reason, like let's go back in the day, women aren't allowed to vote because, well, back in the day, women weren't working. They didn't go to war, or whatever, other reasons that you may disagree with, but those are the reasons back then. How much you want to bet I get my peen touched if I vote? Yeah. I'm going to get the right to vote. All right. Which, again, I'm not against. Like, well, if you work, you can vote. I don't care who you are. But back then, how many, the simp vote, like, oh, I'll get elected if I say, oh, okay. Wait a minute. Were there reasons that group of people weren't allowed to vote? Should we discuss whether the reasons might be wrong or right? And then, like, hold it. But you keep expanding it. Anyway. So, I mean, the male sex drive will go ahead. You're a male-dominated republic. You're not going to be a male-dominated republic very long because you want your peen touched. So that's going to be quickly abandoned. And then it'll go to and then you're going to start up again. Now, it might take 1,000 years to reform a republic type of form of democracy. Watch how long Venezuela stays the dictatorship. Cuba, all those other places have been dictatorships. They're not allowing people to vote anymore. All under the guise, we the people and communism. We're here as a commune. We love everybody. Do as they say or we'll kill you. So, but you're not a monarchy? No. I don't know if you noticed that the reason we do the Clary test is to show you how people who never worked a job in their life ruin everything. Your buddy Biden, not your buddy, but Joe Biden, he's never worked a job in his life. Trump is about the only president we've had since Reagan that actually worked a real job of some kind, him being an entrepreneur. But and you want, oh, wow, our government's not doing well. Yeah, you keep voting in trust fund babies. I mean, Canada, oh my God, oh, Canada. That the world's biggest vagina you guys elected. Holy cow. What a not man you have elected. What the furthest thing from a man you've ever elected. Well, that's what a monarchy would be. Now, monarchies went through a little bit. They also went through a cycle. There'd be a strong-armed general that would quell the rebels and establish law and order, would rule, and the thing, there'd be a golden era. And I never knew why people did this. Then they would pass on the crown to who? The hardworking lieutenant, the young up and coming man in his army, the guy who knew the thing about the economy. No, his son. Because I don't know, Gen X kid's 5 years old. I says, my son, we need to have sons. Oh no, the king didn't have a son. Why don't you give it to one of your incredibly, deserving generals or lieutenants? Or a hardworking somebody who knows what hard work. No, it must be my son. Look at Marcus Aurelius giving a Commodus. How that smart guy did it? What? And then you got some trust fund baby who fiddles while Rome burns or something like that. Maybe turns into an aristocracy where I will give. I mean, that's what we kind of got here. The Bushes and the Clintons and Biden's part of Obama. The Obamas, like, really. But then they piss away the money on public artworks that don't do anything for the people or help out the economy. They pick a war with France because that's what Englanders do. Hey, it's Tuesday. Let's go to war. How long should it be this one? 30 years? Nah, it wasn't long enough. The 100 Years' War. Oh, that'd be good for everyone. Why? Because he said something bad about our king? And then people just suffer more. And then inevitably it gets bad enough that the king is bumped off by a general knows what's going on. And another strong man comes from the bad times. And we repeat the cycle over and over again. But a monarchy? Hell no, you can't give them absolute power over that. Absolutely not. Okay, you might have one good guy like King Ataturk. But then who's the next guy? His son, who sucked on grapes and had nothing but a harem of whores his entire life and doesn't know anything. Like Justin Trudeau. Why is Rome burning? I don't know. As if Canada couldn't suck anymore. You pulled it off, guys. You pulled it off. So the best you could do is have a republic, have it hardwired into the Constitution. No, these are the rules. Only these people have the right to vote. Or we have as I prefer, we have a structured tax system where everyone pays a tax and then you get to vote. Okay. Maybe some ages. But it's just human nature. Well, what about this? What about that? Access to vagina if you vote this way. Okay. Free everything for poon. There's just the slogan. Free everything for poon. And then humans, all you're doing, I guess, is slowing down the cycle. As opposed to a monarchy where it's like, oh, the next guy's crap. You're just slowing down the cycle. And we're part of the cycle. And you could fight it. Oh, we need to get rid of democracy. It's not democracy. It's not democracy. It's human nature. And you're not going to change human nature. There are ways. I've always advocated, like, you never tell your children you have money. You never spoil your children. Like, if you want to put it in law, you can only, term limits. There's ways to slow and retard, meaning slow down. Okay, the proper use of the word. the expansion of government and professional career politicians inevitably corrupt. There's ways to slow it down, but you will not stop it. It's not until humans are starving, like, oh, hey, that time we voted for free everything because women would give us hoo-ha if we voted in UBI and for daycare, and then all the people stopped working because they said, well, if everything's free, why should I work? Oh, it's not working out so well. I'm eating mittens. Then maybe, hey, maybe we're gonna have some reason, sanity, and logic in this. But dude, you gotta stop worrying about this disgusting, non-God fearing. Okay, be pissed off the rest of your life. I don't care. But getting rid of democracy won't stop anything. It won't stop anything because you're fighting human nature. All right, 338 people. If you guys kindly would subscribe to the channel. Let's go to the super chats. Got a couple here. I'll be on Fresh and Fit on Monday, 7 p.m. East Coast time. We're going to do Money Mondays. Say hi to those Hanyakers. Got to put those guys on like, yeah, I got to go in there and make sure they're doing right. These two young guys running around, enjoying life. Got to make sure they're doing it right. Alex Patino, a truck driving Latino agent in the field. Before the beer 19, I could get into 24-hour truck stop restaurants. Now they've closed because they can't get people to show up to work. Yep. There's a place called Marlins. There's a couple out here in South Dakota on the interstate, and you could go there 24/7. Same thing with the Perkins. Can't do it now. I mean, maybe you could, but I don't know. You go there and be like, nah, I'm in the mood for a French silk pie at Perkins. And they're closed. Like, all right. Mexican-American poops. Well, you know what? We need UBI. Are people that dumb in America? You don't get it? Like, if you make it so people don't have to work, then we don't have things showing up in the shelves. Who do you think produces the stuff? Robots? Who do you think mans the tables? Who do you think delivers the gas? It's people who need to work. But if you make it so they don't have to work, they don't work, then the stuff doesn't get produced. I know you know why it's closed, Alex, but why can't we find help? I mean, that's my favorite is business owners who vote Democrat. Why can't we find help? Did you pay them not to work? You did. All right. Democracy. Taekwondo, €2. Democracy, the god that failed. Hans Hermann Hoppe. Yeah, read that. But also Hans Hermann Hoppe, I think he's the guy who's still alive, right? Libertarian, right? That guy's never worked a job in his life. I mean, I agree with him, but there you go. Take a look. There we go. Generation of Powell, $5. Democracy stops being stable once the majority realizes it can vote itself the largesse out of the public treasury, right? But going to a monarch, oh, hey, this is all mine. Hey, you peons, you serfs, you go make more food. Why? Because we'll protect you from the bad people. We're not the bad people. It's the French. Yeah. Give us 80% of your stuff. See Dumbledore. Hey, Dumbledore, did you see I read your Miss Super Chat? I did it on the next video. So the video you made the donation, I followed up on yours on the next one after that. $10. What we engineers figured out a decade ago is you use data to find the most gullible 1%. Then you give them blue checks. You tell them what to say and give them a bullhorn. It's all manufactured. So software engineers, I presume. Hey, I represent that comment. I do have a blue check. Look, the reason people are most popular is because they say what's most popular to the 85% of parasites. Free crap, and you don't have to work for a living. And you're brave and amazing the way you are born with the traits you have. I mean, am I wrong? It wasn't Oprah's whole shtick. Let's go back to the original liar. You're brave and amazing because you're a woman. No, you're half the population. You're common, and being born with a gender that half the people have is not an accomplishment. You're actually incredibly average. But she made it like, oh my God, you're brave and amazing. No, you're not amazing. Ain't none of you charge no hills. I don't see you being brave. But it sells. Definitely sells. Eric Burns, Marsh, $5. When I lived in Centerville, Virginia, I was shocked at the number of men and women who had tattoos on every square inch of visible skin. Yeah, I mean, is that kind of the same thing in Wyoming and South Dakota? Like, I think it's a thing. Like, if you're an attractive woman, you have to have a tattoo out here. I don't know how it is in more of the metropolitan areas, but out here, it's like, I'm pretty. I'm going to mutilate my body. Eric Burns, Marsh, $5. Since you believe in fighting communism, should we declare war on college campus? Yeah. And not declare war, you just defund it. Like, there's no government. Look, Russell's with my libertarian. Do you want to go to a private school and spend $180,000 learning how to hate yourself? Fine, I'm not going to stop you. But we're not lending taxpayer money or guaranteeing student loans with taxpayer money for you to do it. And if we stop lending money and scholarships to the college education system, tuition would drop by like 80%. We need more government money for college. What, do you understand that drives up the price of tuition? Or do you not understand economics that much? Not you, Eric. I know you understand that. Stan the Milkman, $2 Australian. We get fined if we don't vote. Yeah, you guys are forced to vote in Australia. Not a bad idea. I kind of always like that. Like, there's that eccentricity about Australia. I also like how debt is banned under Islam, but not really because, again, human laziness, right? Let's be honest, Muslims. Pretty sure Muhammad and Allah said, don't lend money, no debt, right? Well, we found a thing and gave it a different name, so it's okay now. It's saying, just tell me you're lazy without telling me you're lazy. Yeah, you couldn't work more to just pay cash for it, right? You got to borrow the money, but it's not borrowing because we gave it a different name. Hat and clogs, $2. Nothing lasts forever. Exactly. Scrolling. WizDivision Productions, $5. I see you're celebrating Halloween this year by dressing as a Dr. Seuss character. What's the Wacky Wear Wednesday? I like the dress shirt. This is Atham. Atham gave me this shirt. I'm hopping on the plane, and I don't push my clothes into my backpack. I have a small little backpack. Underwear, socks, deodorant, things like that. And so I don't push my fancy clothes in there. I wear my clothes out that I'm going to wear if I'm going to an event. So that way this doesn't get too wrinkles. Atham gave me this shirt going to Miami. It's very Miami-ish. And then this is because I'm still in South Dakota. It's cold here. So I have my black hooded sweatshirt, and then I got my Snoopy hat because when I go out there, it's going to be sunny. And that's where I'm kind of dressed. Yeah, I admit I'm kind of dressed moronically right now. Hat and clogs, $2. YouTube, get your act together, man. I'm clicking a fourth. There we go. Hat and clogs, $2. All hail our robot dog overlords. Yeah, but who's going to create the electricity to charge up the batteries or refine the fuel to really? I want to know. We got the technology. We just don't have the people like to run a line. Since I don't have kids, it's interesting how quickly you become a misanthrope and cheer against humanity. Like where I'm deriving more and more joy just watching people be miserable. It's awesome seeing people just really piss away their lives. Where I'm like, okay, you'd be happy. The pain would end if you weren't around. Like your existence is only going to be pain. So to me, the solution would be to get something going on in your life so the pain ends. But if you want to torture yourself with lifelong pain, all right. Harrison Blackwood, $10. Why is Rome burning? I don't know. Where's the food? Why can't we find a man? Where have all the good men gone? Fjornir. ISK. Finland? That's not Kroners. What's ISK? Some Nordic. Your name gave it away. Iceland. Oh, Iceland. I should have known. What? Icelandic krona. 0.007 US dollar. Why don't you guys just revalue the currency by now? All right, so 3,000 times 0.007. $21. Thank you, man. You guys just have wheelbarrows full of Icelandic krona? Where we go? He writes, I think when will South America become a better option for regular American white men? The American economy is going to crap, and dealing with cartels is probably easier than dealing with an establishment that openly hates you. Depends what you want. If you want a 3,000 square foot house with granite countertops and high-def televisions and a McMansion South America is not going to be for you. You're going to need to be in a first world nation. If you want peace and quiet and to be left alone, well, right now, many countries in South America and other places in the world are good for you. I mean, I'm not really. It's thankfully I remember the day like you don't want to go there. It's horrible. Yeah, it is horrible. But I went to Mexico, not the tourist destination, but it's like okay, it's fine. Is it as nice and sculpted? No. Are there cartels? Yes. If you leave them alone, will they leave you alone? I hope so. Um, and keep in mind, a lot of what the standard of living is being determined by is not like, look, you got food, clothing, shelter, guys are taken care of. If you need that higher end stuff, notice after Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it doesn't say Ferrari, 4K television, super fast internet. It's things like social belonging, love, acceptance, and self actualization. Those don't have a price tag. Those don't come in the form of a boat. And I think especially for men, it's like, well, we got food, clothing, and shelter kind of taken care of in most of the world. I'll go there and you'll leave me alone. I have money. You'll take me. Oh, yeah, I don't have to vote. I'm not going to vote. I don't want to tell you how to run your country. So I would say in that regard, a lot of places are better than the first world or the Western world. It's just that you're here and you got your roots planted. And it takes a while to get up and leave. You got to learn the language and all these other things. But, South America depends. Obviously not Venezuela. It depends on what week it is. I think Colombia went socialist. Peru was socialist. Now they're not. Ecuador had a communist. Now they don't. And Argentina, everyone keeps bailing them out. They're like the popular girl at the party. I don't know why. But I could live down south where there's mountain hiking and just stay out of Buenos Aires and just hike around and live. So, yeah. And Iceland, I was kind of curious of checking it out. But to me, I'd have island fever. I'm like, okay, I've done everything on this island. What do we got going on now? Although your flight attendants on Iceland Air are hot. Oh my God. They're beautiful. Your pilots are good looking dudes too. So I don't know. Are Icelandic women thin? But I imagine you guys being, Scandinavian, you hate yourselves and contemplate, oh, why should I exist? I'm so bad. So I don't know what the political, but I'm saying economics only goes so far. Sociologically and psychologically, that's more important than, hey, what, you got food, clothing, shelter, and electricity, and you'll say hello to me and you don't really care one way or another, ones I don't break the law. It sounds like a deal to me. Harrison Blackwood, $10. We need a Deadwood form of government. I never saw the show. Sounds like Wild West justice. Jacob Ramsire, $5. Nothing to say here. Enjoy the $5. Thanks, Jacob. I'll go buy some food later on today. I got a layover in Charlotte. I don't know if there's anything there worth checking out. See Dumbledore, $5. Any more thoughts on the marginal cost per body? I think it would be a fun tool for fresh and marginal cost per body. What are you talking about? Like having kids? Marginal cost. I don't know what you mean, C. Dumbledore. Off into the wild blue yonder. Evan, 10 Canadian bucks. Your client just discovered Curtis Yarvin and a non-reactionary movement, and he's being as much of a spurg as someone who just discovered libertarianism. I don't know. I think he's religious, and he cannot separate religion from the fact that people aren't religious. Some people aren't religious. And that while your religion tells you and the followers to do X, Y, and Z, people need to subscribe to that religion to also then, but you can't then lord over X, Y, and Z on people who don't believe in your particular God in the sky. Eric Burns, Marsh, $5. Maslow got it wrong. The ultimate is spending Sundays watching sports ball and downing wings, dude, bro. I think Andrew Henderson probably has, like, there's got to be this nice, quiet place. Maybe I do have to go get a Croatian hut, but I think like Uruguay, somewhere quiet, somewhere nice, just chilling out. Not even for the girls. I don't want the girls. Just like, oh, is that what's happening in the U.S.? Oh, is that what the teachers are telling the children? Is that what the teen girls are doing to cut off their boobs to be popular? That's nice. Oh, that's it. Okay. Link below to help you guys understand, just to deal with the masses, to deal with the 85% of the parasites of society. Enjoy the decline, accepting living with the death of the United States. Insanity is the future of wealth. I will also say, if you really want to live a better life, be in shape. I'm not saying you got to be jacked, but be thin, be healthy, and have good sex. That would go for ladies too. I know you're only marginally interested, but for you boys out there, be in good shape. Go have a good sex life, which is hard, but it's possible. And then, like, oh yeah, well, I had good sex. Got to bang a couple pretty girls. Oh yeah, Chile. Yeah, the Chileans, they went leftist too. All right, there you guys go. See you guys later, Toodles.